Welcome everybody, I'm Beth from Success Tutoring and I'm here today with the CEO and founder, Michael Black. So Michael, today I just wanted to discuss with you everything to do with Success Tutoring. You are Australia's youngest franchisor and you have created a global education brand. Take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to start Success Tutoring?
Very nice to be on here, Beth, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think today's going to be a really amazing episode because we're going to be sharing a lot with the viewers and sharing a little bit more about Success Tutoring. So as many people know, Success Tutoring started in a spare room in Bosley Park in Sydney's western suburbs. Wow. And we've now grown to becoming one of the fastest growing education franchises, not just in Australia, but across the globe. It started in a spare room from humble beginnings with no fancy office, no big investors, and just determination and drive to make things happen.
That's incredible. You should be so proud. And did you see a gap in the education space that other tutoring services just weren't filling for you?
Well, Beth, I think a lot of times people do ask me that question, and I always come back to when I was in high school. And I had this particular tutor, and that tutor inspired me a lot. He was very similar to my age, and he really motivated me. And those are sort of the same foundations that we have at Success Tutoring to motivate, inspire, and uplift, because we believe that with those very foundational aspects and those very foundational values that we hold, we can provide some really meaningful results for students. Previously, I had been to other tutoring places, and they weren't a really good fit for me, mainly because it felt like a repetitive sort of learning environment, and it wasn't too different from school. Whereas having a person there as a mentor or as a tutor or like as a coach really motivated me. And I thought to myself, well, if I received that really good service, maybe I can provide the same level of service to other students that may be struggling in particular subjects.
Yeah, that's incredible. So why do you think it's growing so quickly and it's becoming Australia's fastest growing tutoring service?
I think there's a few reasons, and in business, there's never a silver bullet. There's always many reasons why a business is successful. And I can speak for Success Tutoring, and I believe there are a few foundational reasons why it is a very fast-growing education business. At Success Tutoring, I would say there's three key stakeholders. The first are the students, which receive the service. The second are the franchise partners, which own and operate the locations that we run. And the third is HQ. And so those are the three major stakeholders in any franchise organization. So as long as those three major stakeholders are satisfied and growing together, then you can run a very, very successful franchise system. And so at Success Tutoring, let's start with the customer. So the customer is the member. So at Success Tutoring, we have members and we have our students. So those particular members, which are students, they receive a personalised learning program based on their individual needs, and it's like a gym membership model to education. So there's an app that allows the parents to book and schedule sessions. So what we've actually brought to the education industry is flexibility and a personalised learning experience that's based on what students are actually supposed to be learning at school. So that's the first thing. The second is franchise partners. I mean, with franchise partners, we can expect, and this is why Success Tutoring is growing really quickly, is because we bring really good results for franchise partners, and franchise partners are profitable and they're making a meaningful impact in the lives of their community. So a lot of the franchise partners we have, it's their first time running a business, actually, and we assist them and we provide them with that support and guidance to run a very successful business. Wow. So that's two. Number three is HQ. So we actually run one of the youngest franchisor HQs in the world. Most of our franchise support office staff are below the age of 30. I'll say the average age across our head office is probably close to 24. Wow. A very, very young team. And it's a really good thing because we're motivated to provide that really good support to franchise partners and to students. And also, we know what students want, and that's quality learning experience.
Yeah, that's so good. Like your company that you've built is forever growing and super innovating as well. How do you ensure that students aren't just learning, but they're actually enjoying the process in their sessions?
That's really important. I mean, a lot of viewers listening today may experience or may have experienced in the past that they went to to tutoring maybe, and they might have experienced that it wasn't actually a really good experience. And unfortunately, that's sort of the traditional aspect of learning. It's like people think that it's not supposed to be a fun and enjoyable experience. But what you know and what many people know that have associated with Success Tutoring is that across all of our locations, across Australia and other parts of the world, is we have the 3 words, and those words are motivate, inspire, uplift. And those are the 3 key words that make Success Tutoring what it is. And so we want to make sure that kids are actually enjoying the learning process and they're loving learning and they love actually being a part of the community. So some things that we do to make it fun for kids is, for example, when they come in, the tutor will give them a high five and they would say, hey, welcome to Success Tutoring. Really nice to have you today. And they would sit down and they would work with their fellow peers. So they would make friends with other students, maybe in different ages, and they have a good experience. Tutors reward students with points. And so you know this as well with the points system, the students get points and then they get prizes as well. So kind of like an arcade system.
Yeah.
So there's a few different things. I mean, we also have the certificates at the end of each program where we reward the students and we give them a pat on the back and say, good job, you're doing a really good job and encouraging them because at the end of the day, learning never stops. It's an ongoing thing. And if we can build the foundations of students now for them to love the learning process, they'll become lifelong learners.
That's amazing, and it's important to give them the recognition that they deserve and they are so passionate about having. Okay, so I'm moving on now to how do you train and support the tutors to maintain quality across all of the locations that you have in Australia, and we have it now in New Zealand and hopefully moving into the US, the States. How do you do that? How do you maintain that?
Well, I always say this to a lot of the team members in HQ. Yes, we are in tutoring, but we are in franchising and we're in building systems. And so creating systems is so important and ensuring that we can maintain the quality of education and service that we offer. At Success Tutoring, we provide world-class franchise training. So we have a system called the Success Academy program, which everybody in HQ completes and all franchise partners complete as well. And that particular system allows everybody, all major stakeholders, to understand what is, what is relevant when running the business, and how they can actually run the business themselves. So there are a few different components to Success Tutoring. Of course, we've got the personalised learning program, which is a customised program based on initial assessment. So knowing exactly how to run that initial assessment. How do we actually provide quality customer service on scale? Because you can run maybe 1 or 2 centres really well, but how do you actually run it when you've got hundreds of locations? And these are the sort of things that we're always building. We're always reinvesting back into the business. So I always say this to everybody, literally every single every dollar that is put in as revenue that goes into the business, we reinvest and we put back because we are so focused on providing the best for those 3 key stakeholders, which are franchise partners, customers, and HQ.
Yeah. So we're actually moving on now to, you've just released your new book, Millionaire Tutor. So can you tell us about it and who it's for?
Cool. Well, thank you very much for mentioning that. I think it was an amazing grand opening that we had at the New South Wales State Library a month or so ago. We had some really cool speakers and some media there as well. So it was a really, really amazing event. And I just wanted to say, thank you for everybody that was able to attend that, because I think it was a really good foundational step in the right direction to put Success Tutoring on the map and to share my story. I mean, Success Tutoring, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, it started from humble beginnings. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of learnings. And I chose to write this book to inspire people to start their own business, whether it's a Success Tutoring business or whether it's their own business. There are some key foundational elements when it comes to business, understanding what you should and shouldn't do and the different mindsets. I wrote this book to provoke people. It's not something that's, that you're going to read and you're going to think, oh, it's just like another business book. It's not like that. I've written it on purpose to provoke and to inspire people to have different thoughts about business and to think about, okay, where are they now and where do they want to be and what's their life's purpose? Because we know that, you only live once and you should always do things that make you happy. And so it's really important that understanding your inner purpose and making sure that you're aligned with where you want to be.
Yeah, that's so good. I think that could help so many people, especially so many young people finding their way. So what would you say is one key message in the book that every educator or entrepreneur should know from it?
That's a very good question, and I'm not going to spoil the book because
without giving too much away.
I want people to actually read it because there's been a lot of work that's been put into it, and it's not just hard work, but it's also knowledge from many years of running a business and running it from a spare room, which was literally a 3 meter by 2 meter room, into a international and fast growing education brand. So that there's a lot of learnings that come in that, and there is a lot of challenges as well. And so there are so many key points there, and there's actually some stories as well of some experiences that I had and some of the common challenges. One thing I will highlight though, and something that I recall, which is a interesting story that we had, and I think it will also share with the viewers exactly what it sort of took to be able to, scale the business, but also the kind of mindset that we had in initial phases. So in the early days, we only had about probably 2 or 3 people working in head office, and those people were mainly tutors. And we built them up and we said, okay, well, we'd like you to help us build some sort of systems and processes. And I remember actually when we first started, we were writing the operations manual in the office, so in one of the, which was actually this third office that we ran as a corporate site. And we were writing the operations manual all the way up to almost 11 p.m. at night. And it wasn't just me, it was other team members as well. And we were so determined to make sure we write this operations manual so well for the franchise partners, which we were supposed to train the day after actually, which is a bit last minute. So, but we did that because we wanted it to be perfect. We knew, we put a lot of effort into it, but in the very early stages, we continued to build things, and we were very relentless. We didn't want to just make things the way they are. We wanted to make sure they were the best. Yeah. And so we were writing it at 11 p.m. at night, literally in the office, just typing away and making sure it's perfect for the day after. And it was a really good experience after, because we trained the first few franchise partners that came on board, and it was a really good experience. But that sort of story resonated with me, and it was something that I remember. And I think the reason why I remember it is because it shows the hard work and determination that's required to be able to run a business, and also the importance of having a very strong network of team members that have the same passion and vision to make things a reality.
Wow, so you and your team sacrificed so much time and energy on this, and it's just created something so amazing. Where do you actually see Success Tutoring in the next 5 years?
Well, Beth, I think a lot of people ask me that question, and the reality is we would love to take over the world when it comes to education. We want to motivate, inspire, and uplift students all across the world. It doesn't matter which country they're in. That's our goal, and that's what we're going to do. Now, whether it's going to happen in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, maybe 50, maybe in many generations ahead, but it will definitely happen one day. And I believe there is a big gap in the education system. And I do mention this a lot in my book. There are some foundational aspects in the education system, not just in Australia, but globally, that is deeply flawed. And there's a lot of things that we need to do as a society and as a community to make sure that we provide quality education for students, because there is a big gap between the quality of service and quality of education that people receive, not just in Australia, but globally. And I'm a firm believer that the school system, the way it's designed, and a lot of people agree with me, is very outdated, and it needs to be improved. And people have just been sitting there doing nothing about it, and they haven't made any change. And I think Success Tutoring is definitely a force and a movement where it's not just about tutoring, but it's also about making education better. Yeah. And not making just education quality better, but actually providing good quality for the students, but also being honest with them. Like, for example, the school system in Australia goes from like kindergarten to year 12. Question is is from kindergarten to year 12, is that, and like, I personally believe from kindergarten to year 12, you can actually complete the same level of education in almost half the time, because I believe there's a lot of time that's being wasted in the school system. and students are not getting the quality service that they need. I mean, there's 30 students in the class, teachers are under pressure, and students most of the time are just fiddling with their pens. And one thing I love, and this is something that I'm really passionate about with Success Tutoring, is that Success Tutoring, we have a personalized program, meaning when the student comes in, they receive an assessment and then they receive a personalized program based on their needs, not based on what the school system or what society thinks. So we are actually motivating students and we're encouraging them to do work that's actually more advanced than their level as well.
That's so exciting, and I just think it can go global. It's such a game-changing tutoring service. So what I wanted to ask you next was, how can someone get involved, either as a tutor, a student, or even someone who wants to be like a franchise owner? How do they get involved?
Well, to be a student, it's very easy. All you need to do is search up Success Tutoring near me and you'll find your nearest Success Tutoring centre. We've got locations all across Australia, just entered into the New Zealand market, and we've got our eyes set on the United States as well. So that's very, very simple. We've got an app that allows parents to download and book sessions. How to be a tutor? Well, being a tutor, we get hundreds of applications, if not thousands. We get hundreds per location. Wow. We get thousands across all of our locations. And one thing that we always look for, and there's two things actually. The first is good quality results. So we want to make sure that the tutors that we bring on board are good, they've done very well in their studies. Yeah. But the second thing, which we put a lot of emphasis on, more emphasis than a lot of other tutoring businesses, is interpersonal skills and customer service skills. A person's ability to communicate information is so important. It's not just about the results they get at school, but it's also their ability to communicate. Because just because you did very well in your studies does not mean you can teach it. And so that's what we look for. The third is franchise partner, which I'll say is the hardest, of course, because there's more steps involved and it's a bigger commitment, because it's not just about, buying something and then letting it run on its own. You need to put a lot of hard work and effort to make it successful. And so being a franchise partner, we do have a particular website, which is called successtutoringfranchise.com. It's a global website which provides localized information depending on which country that particular person is in. And they can go onto that site and they can book a call with one of our growth and performance managers, and they can actually guide that particular person with what Success Tutoring is and the discovery of whether it's a good fit for them, because it's not a good fit for everybody. Some people, it's great for them, but other people, they need that, maybe they're looking for a different kind of business model, or maybe they don't have the time. So it really does depend.
Moving on to the next question is, what would you say is one moment in your journey that made you step back and just say, wow, like we did this, or wow, how did we do this?
Well, I get this question a lot as well.
Yeah.
And I think, having this sort of business mindset sort of ingrained to me at a young age, and I've been doing this, started Success Tutoring at 17. I mean, having this sort of mindset, I've actually never really stood back and thought, wow, look what have we done. I've always thought, what can we do better? Wow. What can we do next? And I think it's a bit of a blessing but a curse at the same time. So it's probably a blessing for, probably major stakeholders like franchise partners, customers, and HQ. But it's probably more of maybe a little bit of a curse maybe for me, because then I can't actually step back and think, okay, what have we actually done?
Yeah.
There's something that Jeff Bezos always says, and he says in Amazon, it's day one every day, which means that they've got that same hustle, they've got the same determination regardless of what they've achieved. It's the same with many other entrepreneurs. You've just got to keep going, and you've got to have that mindset, because I believe that when you look back, I think you've always got to be really happy with what you've been able to achieve. But I think always having that next goal in mind, I think, is very important, because that's what keeps everybody, definitely keeps me alive. It's what keeps me awake and makes me love living, is having that next goal and that milestone, because it's not about the goal, it's about the journey. It's very important. It's not about the destination, it's the journey. It's actually, when you listen to a song, you don't go to the end of the song. You listen to the song and you dance to the song, and that's what life is. And so I never say, okay, this is the goal. Okay, we've we've done it. Okay, we should stop now. We're never
Yeah.
going to stop. We're just
No.
going to keep going. We're going to
Yeah.
be relentless. We're going to enjoy every aspect of it, and we're just going to keep going.
That's incredible, and that is why Success Tutoring will go global. So let's move on to some other questions. This is more student focused now, I'd say. Why do you think tutoring is becoming more in demand at the moment?
Well, I think, and this is something I mentioned in the book as well. I think there's a big reason why. Education and tutoring is becoming more in demand is because of the failure of the education system. I think there's a lot of things the education system can do to improve. That's the first thing. The second is the world is becoming more competitive. There's more people that want to, go into selective scholarship exams, and everybody wants to work for, a Fortune 500 company, for example. They want to work for the best, companies.
Yes.
And so that's why they're always more and more competitive. I think those are the two main things. I think as a society in general, we're becoming more sophisticated, people are understanding the value of education, and especially in countries like Australia, people are relying more on white-collar roles rather than blue-collar roles. And I think overall as a society, that's being developed. And, if you look at in the past, it wasn't always like that. There was a lot of blue-collar work, but now a lot of the time it's actually been passed on to other countries. So generally speaking, education is becoming more popular, mainly because of that. There is another point as well I will raise, and I think it's mainly because of the culture. So I think culture makes a very big difference to education. So a lot of our customer base are from two nationalities, and many people will guess when they're listening to this, it's either Indian or Chinese. There's a lot of customers that are from those two demographics. And I think that's because education is embedded in their culture. That is a very, very strong aspect to, what they believe. And so with a lot of migration happening into Australia, there's a lot of people opting in for tutoring services from there as well.
Perfect. Okay, so leading on from that question, why do you think parents choose tutoring? Why are they going for that option way more now?
Well, I think parents are going for tutoring for a few reasons. I think one of them is because they're time poor. A lot of time these days, parents, a single household income is not enough. So they, a couple would need to work a job each to be able to maintain the, lifestyle. So time poor. A second thing is they're noticing that the education system is lacking.
Yeah.
So what that means is they're realizing, okay, they take their kids to school, but then kids aren't learning. So they ask their son Billy, what are you learning today at school? What did you learn? And Billy will be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember, and then goes back to the video games. So that's what it is, and that is the reality of today's society. And so time poor is a big thing, and then also the lack of the quality of education that students are receiving at school.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And why should parents enroll their children at Success Tutoring? Like, why should they choose Success Tutoring as a whole for their child?
Well, I think the answer to that is very simple, and it's probably because I've been doing it for so many years. I understand very well what Success Tutoring does, and we provide quality, personalised tutoring for students. So when they come in, we conduct an assessment on them, and then after that, we build a personalised program for them. So first thing is they receive a personalised program. The second is it's based on the Australian curriculum, meaning that students are learning what is relevant to what they're doing at school.
Yeah.
You'd be very surprised. A lot of organisations, education, do not actually focus on the Australian curriculum. They focus on international curriculum or another country, right? Wow. So that is a big differentiator here at Success Tutoring. And also, as we're expanding into New Zealand, we offer the New Zealand curriculum. So it's very much tailored to where the student is at.
Amazing. So if I was a parent, talk me through the process of going to enrol my child into Success Tutoring.
Well, the process is this. A student comes into the centre, they do an assessment. After the assessment, the tutor provides them with a recommendation of which particular programs the student should enrol in. And after that, they sign up on the app. And then after that, then the student comes in for their first lesson, and they've got their own personalised program, which is a folder. And inside that folder is a personalised program. And the students pick up the folder, they sit down and they begin their work. The tutor assists them with their work, and they can also assist them with some of their schoolwork, such as homework and assignments. And at the end of the lesson, the tutor then provides a feedback to the parent exactly what the child completed in that lesson and how they're tracking.
I want to move on to something more franchise related. What makes the Success Tutoring model so different?
Well, and I think this is a really good question, especially for those looking at wanting to become a franchise partner, Success Tutoring. And there are a few key things that make Success Tutoring unique. And I believe the first thing is the simple business model that we run. We've got an app that allows parents to pick a location, pick a membership, and pay per week. So it's a recurring membership model where the franchise partners can either hire a manager or they can manage it themselves. So it's like running a gym, but you're running a tutoring business. So it's the exact same thing. So it's like a membership-based business model. The second is that we actually sign up the customers before the business opens. So the most recent location that we've just recently launched, which is the first location in New Zealand, is actually at 50 members right now. They've only been running for 2 weeks, and by the grand opening next month, we're expecting for them to be at 70 from day one, which is a remarkable number.
So good.
I mean, only a few months ago, we've just launched a new location in Sydney, and that had 150 members from day one. So these are some very, very strong, solid numbers. And by the way, these are numbers that have never been heard of, not just in Australia, but globally. I mean, we've recently hired the ex-CEO of Kumon, which for those that don't know what Kumon is, it's a global education company with over 36,000 locations all across the world. And his name's Alan, and he said to me, Michael, I've never seen these numbers before.
Wow.
These are numbers that are not just happening in Australia. Like these are numbers that are happening in Australia, but they're records across the globe.
Yeah.
And so this is a very important aspect for franchise partners. It's the fact that we can sign up customers before the business opens.
Wow.
This is not something that is very common in the tutoring space. This is something that we have invented ourselves. We're the first ones to do it. A lot of people had doubts. They're like, this was not going to work. This won't work, but it works. And so that is a very, very important aspect for the business model because it allows franchise partners to open with confidence. They have the confidence. They're like, I can open and I can run cash flow positive. Because just to put it in perspective for you, Beth, a Success Tutoring franchise, the break-even point's about 50 members. So if you do the numbers on 50, so 50 members is the break-even. If a location's opening with 100, that is like, and the membership rate's about $70. They're making anything above 50, that is profit. So if you do the numbers, that business is making a really, really strong profit literally on, and they've just started. Like they've been running for like a couple months. So it's a simple business model to run. It's also, we've got that membership-based business model, and it's in very high demand. A lot of parents are wanting it.
Yeah.
So there's more and more students coming in, and there's more students wanting tutoring. So I think those are the three pillars that make Success Tutoring unique. There is another thing I will mention, and that is ideas are great, execution is better. And that's something that I mentioned in the book as well, is that just because you might have an idea. So these are some ideas that I'm sharing, which is the foundation memberships and signing up people and all that. But that's an idea. But actually how you can do it, you need a strong team. You need a strong team because ideas are great, execution is better. And if you have really good team and support mechanism to make it successful, then it will be. So franchise partners, and anyone that's listening to this, anyone can, sort of try and copy or replicate. But the reality is that it's not about the idea. It's about how well you execute. And so you need to have a very, very strong team to be able to execute and provide that support as well to franchise partners.
Amazing. And following on from that, would you say that is what's key to a successful business, or is there some more tips that you could give to the franchisers?
Well, I think there's a few things, and I think mindset is very important. When you buy into a franchise, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You already know what the wheel looks like. You know it's working. So what you're trying to do is adapt that to the local market and provide good quality learning for students and following the systems and processes set out by the franchisor. I think that's very, very key and important. Mindset is important. I always say this to franchise partners. Business is not easy. There's ups and downs, and usually they will find that it has the highest highs and the lowest lows, and that's normal because that's business.
Yeah.
That's why not everybody does it, but the rewards are worth it, in my opinion. They are worth it, and especially if it aligns with your inner purpose.
Yeah, amazing. So we've recently heard that a 23-year-old has just become a franchise partner. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that's right. In recent years,
Wow.
we've just brought on Ishika. She used to be a student. She
Nice.
became a tutor, and now she's a franchise partner. It's
Wow.
amazing. And she's the youngest franchise partner in Australia. Can you believe that?
That's
The
crazy.
youngest. I would, in my wildest expectation, I would not have expected this to happen. I mean, it's just amazing, and I just can't, believe it that we have we've literally the youngest franchisor and the youngest franchise partner. Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible.
We're breaking records
Wow.
everywhere we go, and also the most foundation members. I mean, these are some really good records, and I think Ishika's doing an amazing job. We've just recently put a article on that on our website. Maybe we should link it. We should edit it in here
link
and
it
link it
down
and
below.
link it here, and have them actually click on that and read it, because I think it's a very inspiring story.
Yes.
I think for somebody that has done so well in these high school years, studied at one of the top universities in the country, and had the options of working at any business, literally, with the amount of experience and also results that Ishika received. The fact that she decided to open up a Success Tutoring franchise says a lot.
Yeah.
She could have done anything. She got very, very good results. And the fact that she had the guts to do it at such a young age is like a really, really strong commitment as well. So I think it just shows that, even though we're pretty much a pretty young company, I mean, 8 years is not as long as many other companies, but the fact that she started off as a student, became a tutor, became a franchise partner, just shows, the strength of the brand.
Wow. So she's grown with Success Tutoring. How incredible.
Quite literally.
Right. So I'm going to move on now to the most recent Success Tutoring has just been launched in Auckland, and with a plan to launch with 70 plus members. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel very happy, of course, because the first international location that we launched, which is in Auckland, launched with 70 members. And I think that is a very, very strong number. And I think that builds a very strong foundation for Success Tutoring. And it proves to the market and it proves to franchise partners and to everybody that it just doesn't work just in Australia. It works in New Zealand. It's going to work in the United States. It's going to work in Canada. It's going to work in other parts of the world. It's going to work in the UK. So that is what we are doing. So we're proving the concept. It's not just about expanding just in Australia or proving it in Australia, but it is actually a testament to the hard work of the franchise partner, the hard work of the support office, and the fact that the business model is so strong that it can definitely continue to expand, not just in Australia, but in other parts of the world.
That's amazing. It's like a proven recipe for success all over. I'm going to move on to some common objective questions now. So how do you find a location to launch in? If we're going right back to basics for a franchisor, how do you find the location?
That's a very good question. And I think with that particular question, I think finding a location, there's a few different steps associated with that. So we recently actually made a video with Jamie. She's the global leasing coordinator at Success Tutoring. And Jamie, actually, we did a bit of a walkthrough of what we look for when we're looking for a Success Tutoring location. But the process goes like this. First thing is the franchise partner inquires about a franchise, and they may particularly look for a particular territory. So we have a live territory map available on our website that allows franchise partners to look at different areas that they're looking at launching in. So the areas are color-coded depending on availability, whether it's available, reserved, or sold. And so they pick a territory, they might click on the territory, and it will give them up-to-date census data on that area. So, for example, it will tell them a little bit about what the population is, number of schools, number of kids, ethnicity. So they can get a really good understanding of the area that they're looking at. Once they've picked a territory, then we begin looking for locations. So as I mentioned, Jamie, which is a global leasing coordinator at Success Tutoring, her role is to source and negotiate the leases with the landlords. So that's pretty much what she does. She does that every day, all day, and that's her job. And so that provides that support and reassurance and support to the franchise partners that we are here to work in a genuine partnership. We're not just here to, set you up and away you go. Now, we want to make sure that the location that they pick and the location we pick as a team is the right one. Because one thing I've learned in business and in being in this for almost 10 years now is the location is so important, because you pick a good location, you can run a very, very successful business, and it makes a really big difference. So that's what we do to support them.
Yeah, amazing. And another question that I'm going to ask, which I believe is quite a popular one, how do you find and recruit students to join Success Tutoring?
Well, that's a really good question, and I believe a lot of franchise partners ask that question, which is, how do we bring on tutors? And so the tutors that we hire, plain and simple, as in Australia we call them university students, and as in the US we call them college students. We hire them on a casual basis, as we say in Australia, and in the US we call them part-time. So we hire them, and those are the tutors that we bring on board at Success Tutoring, and those are the ones that represent Success Tutoring. And so we look for two things. The first thing is good interpersonal skills, and the second is good results. And all of the tutors that we bring on board, we induct them in our Success Academy program, which are videos and questions for them to complete, and so they can understand exactly what it means to be a Success Tutoring tutor. We also have a diagnostic assessment that the tutors can complete as well, to ensure that they're very well equipped. For those that might have graduated a bit later and reapplying to become a tutor. But that's generally what we look for. Another common thing a lot of franchise partners ask is, how many applications do you get? Well, the answer to that is, actually, we get hundreds of applications, because there's so many university and college students looking for work, and they especially love working at Success Tutoring, because we provide them a really good experience being a part of the team. And we provide them good quality learning material and a lot of other things. So, yeah.
That's so good. I just have a final question for you. What overall makes Success Tutoring unique?
Well, Success Tutoring, at the core, it's not the brand that makes it unique. So it's not the logo, it's not the color, it's not even the learning material. I think what makes Success Tutoring unique is the people. It's the community. Because you can have the best logo, you can have the best colors, you can have the best systems and processes, but the real essence of what makes a business is the people. So it's the support office team members, it's the franchise partners, it's the students, it's the team members that work as tutors and as managers. That's what makes Success Tutoring unique. You can't replicate that. You can replicate the colors, you can try to make some educational material and make it look good, but what you can never replicate is the people, and the people is what makes the business successful. And so when you ask me, Michael, what makes Success Tutoring unique, I'll say to you, every day, all day, it's the people that make it unique.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We'll hopefully see you again on the podcast soon.
Yep. Thanks a lot.